At some point in life, we'll all experience a moment where we're going through a difficult time, experiencing losses, failure, questioning our purpose and path, while we're seeing our family or friends thriving, experiencing wins, new milestones. And it's so easy when we experience these moments in life to inwardly compare ourselves to our friends, to our family, if we're not careful, being envious of what they're experiencing. I think it's really important to learn how to celebrate others even while you're in the trenches. I think this is why a lot of friendships do not last the test of time because of situations like this, where people don't communicate how they're feeling, things are just kept inside, and slowly but surely it affects the relationship. Welcome back to the Pearls and Pearls podcast. I'm your host, Peta-Kay. Welcome. I hope you're going to enjoy today's episode. Let's get into the juice of today. So, celebrating others whilst you're in the trenches. I'm sure if you've not experienced this before, at some point in life, you will experience this. And I can definitely say this is something that I've experienced. And when I was thinking of this topic, it really made me reflect on my relationship with two of my best friends. We've been friends since we're 18. We're now in our early 30s. And throughout that time, we've all experienced moments where someone was doing really well, somebody was going through some stuff, or maybe more than one of us during that time was going through something. But personally, I've been the friend where I felt like the girls were doing really well, and I was kind of in the trenches, going through different challenges. Also, because I started working full time a lot earlier than my friends, so some of my problems were a little bit different. Some of the experiences that I would have at work would be slightly different to what they were going through. And just seeing how we've been able to navigate our friendship of over 10 years whilst not allowing feelings like this or even experiences like this to impact our relationship, it definitely got me thinking because I've seen so many friendships where people have been friends for a really, really long time break down over what seems like something super small. And I don't think those small fractures are ever really the real reason behind why that relationship has broken down. I think once you start to dissect and really look closer at the relationship, you then realize that there were lots of other things that were happening, those small cuts that became deep scars over time that never really healed. I think one of the biggest problems in this generation, I was speaking to my friend about this earlier this week, is that a lot of the times we don't communicate when it comes to the difficult things. There's certain things that are really difficult to admit. And one of those things is being able to say, do you know what, right now I'm feeling inadequate. I'm comparing myself to other people. I'm feeling maybe jealous or envious of what my friend is going through. I'm happy for them, but at the same time, it's shining a light on where I'm at, and I don't feel comfortable with where I'm at. Like being able to articulate these things out loud is something that most people aren't willing to do. And I think there's definitely a healthy way of addressing these difficult conversations with your friends, with your family. I definitely don't think that every thought that you have or feeling should be discussed, right? Especially when your feelings are pertaining to someone else. I think sometimes it's important to work through those feelings yourself, understand why you're feeling the way that you feel, and not everything needs to be communicated. Sometimes I feel like people communicate things that they actually probably just needed to process on their own. And I'll give you an example. So let's say I'm feeling jealous of one of my friends. They're doing really well in their career, and I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, like that should be me. It's not fair. I wish that was me. Or I'm making some kind of comparison on my own life to that friend. If I'm the one experiencing feelings of jealousy, inadequacy, or whatever the case may be in relation to my friend, I don't think it's healthy for me to go to my friend and be like, do you know what? I'm feeling really jealous of you. I'm not happy for you. I think there's certain things that you just don't need to tell anyone. Some things you just tell God, or you tell your therapist, or you tell a confidant. I don't think everything needs to be communicated to that person because one, you going and telling them that you're feeling jealous is almost making them the problem when really you've got to dissect and go a bit deeper as to why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. It's one thing if the person is really showing off, they're maybe even comparing themselves or they're putting you down or speaking about your life in a negative way. That's different. If the person is simply just living their life and just sharing as you would with your friends the good things that are happening in your life, then the problem is not them. You have to look a little bit more introspectively and think about, okay, how can I deal with this in a healthy way? Depending on your relationship and proximity to the person, there may come a time, maybe later on, when you have overcome these feelings. So I think it might be a good place to speak about it. But I think if you are in the thick of it and you haven't really processed those thoughts, gone through it, or even worked through how am I going to navigate this moment of my life, I don't think it's right for you to go to that person to tell them and just vomit everything that you're feeling, because it's easy also for them to just feel awkward or even feel like, okay, maybe I shouldn't share the good things in my life with this person anymore. And I think it can do a lot more harm than good to the relationship. So while I think it's important to communicate with your friends, with your family, whoever it is that you're in a relationship with, there needs to be a level of wisdom that has to be there about what you actually communicate. On my girls' trip last year when I went to Tunisia with my friends, we were having girl chats as you do. I'd found like this long list of questions and we were working through them and talking about them. One of the questions was about if you've ever experienced jealousy in the friendship. And it was a really, really good conversation because it's not something we'd ever really spoken about, but it was a good opportunity for us to talk about our feelings, anything that we've experienced. And while none of us had necessarily ever really experienced jealousy in our friendship, there definitely were moments where there were maybe comparisons or feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing great right now in life. But it didn't affect our friendship in a negative way. And I think it's really important if you want to maintain healthy relationships that are able to last the test of time. It's really important for you to create a culture in your relationship where you can be transparent with each other. And of course, like I said before, it's not every feeling, thought that comes to your mind you need to communicate. But when it does come to those really important things or something that's going to impact on how you show up in that friendship, I think it's important for you to speak to them, even if it's a case of, right now I just need to focus on myself. It's nothing to do with you. You've not done anything wrong, of course, if that's how you actually feel. But right now, I've just got a lot going on and I need to just get myself together. Even just having those conversations is so important because what do people do? A lot of the times we pull back, we isolate ourselves, and we don't actually talk about what's going on. And then it's easy for the other person to think that they've done something wrong, to feel a way about it, because again, you've not actually communicated. You've just completely started treating them differently. And or maybe even it's a case you've isolated yourself from them, but you're hanging out with another group of friends. And then it's so easy then, especially with social media, if you post what you're doing, what you're getting up to, for then your friend to see you with other people and be like, okay, so they're not socializing with me, but they are socializing with other people. And then to start thinking or maybe even connecting all the dots that aren't even correct as to why you are navigating the relationship in the way that you are. So I do think it's important to be open and to be honest. For some people, they would much rather block and delete to orchestrate a fake reason as to why they're ending the friendship than to really talk about what truly matters. And like I said in the beginning, at some point in life, we're all going to experience this in our relationships. Maybe you've never experienced this before, but I can definitely look back at moments in my friendship with my two best friends where I felt a little bit like, oh my gosh, I remember the time when I was a single friend and they were both dating someone and I didn't have anyone. And, of course, when people are dating, they're going out with their boyfriend. And it was like, okay, if they're going out with their boyfriend, there's something that I want to do. Normally I'd do it with them, but okay, I'm just going to go out on my own. And I never allowed, feelings of loneliness or comparisons to make me see my friends in a negative light or even to stop me from celebrating their wins, their milestones. I think it's so important to celebrate others in the way you'd like to be celebrated. Most people, we like to be celebrated. We want our wins to be celebrated, right? But it's easy when the shoe's on the other foot to not do the same. It goes back to that classic treat others how you'd like to be treated. And I think when it comes to celebrating your friends, celebrating your wins, it's the same thing. If you want people to celebrate you, you also need to be willing to celebrate them. We are all going to go through moments in life where things are going well, and we're going to experience moments in life where it feels like our whole life is falling apart, where we're questioning ourselves, we're questioning our decisions, we're wondering, am I really on the right track? Am I behind in life? Is my life ever going to change? Especially if you've had a number of years that have been difficult, challenging, that just feel like your life is just going in circles. It's so easy then to question yourself, to compare yourself to others, and then also to isolate. A lot of the times when we are experiencing low moments, when our mental health is not in a good place, we often isolate ourselves. We often just keep ourselves to ourselves. It's easier that way. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to face certain things. We can avoid certain conversations. But if you do want to build healthy relationships in whatever capacity, whether that's a platonic relationship, a romantic relationship, it's important for you to, one, be able to communicate when you are going through a difficult time. And it doesn't always mean that you have to divulge and go into all the details, but even just to say to your friend, you know what, right now I'm going through something. If I'm a bit quiet, don't take it personal. Pray for me. We'll catch up soon or whatever, but just communicate. Don't isolate. Don't ghost. Talk about it. Because again, maybe you decide to ghost and then just pop up when everything's going well for you and you're ready to resume the relationship. Relationships don't work like that. You can't pick people up and drop them off when it suits you. It's just not going to work. And maybe you have a habit of doing that. There's only so long that people are going to tolerate that level of inconsistency in their relationship. So it's important for you to be able to have the difficult conversations, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, especially if you feel that that relationship is worth the effort. If it's worth the effort, then maybe you're just going to have to put your big girl pants on, put your big boy pants on, and feel uncomfortable in a short period of time for something that is going to help to maintain your relationship in the long run. I think it's also important to remember that life doesn't revolve around you. We're all the main character in our own lives, but that's just not how life works in general. We are not always going to be the main character in someone else's life. If you are experiencing this right now, maybe things aren't going in the way that you hoped, or you are feeling like, oh, I'm behind, certain things haven't happened yet, and perhaps your friends or your family or those that you're close to, they are in a moment in life where everything is going well, or it seems, because a lot of the time it seems, right? Everybody has their challenges and their battles. Even if outwardly everything looks great, we all have something that we are working through, whether it's an emotional thing, a mental thing, a physical, like we all have something. And I think that's why it's really important to just be cautious when you are making comparisons about your life to someone else's, because we all have our own battles. Some people it might not be a financial challenge, but there might be something else that's a challenge for them. So don't compare your life to anyone else's. And equally at the same time, if this is the case where everything is going wrong for you, but your friends are going through a really good time in life, celebrate them. Celebrate them in the way that you'd want to be celebrated. Show up for your friend. And if you say, oh, I can't celebrate them because I'm going through something and I just don't feel like it, that is love. Love is sacrificial. Love is showing up even when you just would much rather be at home. Love also sometimes requires you to inconvenience yourself. And maybe right now, the inconvenience is going to be celebrating that person, even though it's a difficult moment. And I'm sure if your friend is aware of some of the challenges you're facing, they're going to appreciate the effort, the small gesture, even if it's something small, sending a message, sending a voice note, maybe buying them a small token, a little gift to celebrate them or to tell them, I'm proud of you. I see where you've come from. And I think also be inspired. The way that I've framed my thinking when it comes to celebrating my friends and witnessing their growth and their milestones is, wow, if it's happened for them, it can happen for me. If we can be inspired by strangers, people we'll never meet, celebrities, people that they don't even know our names, they could not point us out of a lineup. If we can celebrate strangers, why can we not celebrate our people? And for me, I love to see my people doing well because it shows me that I can do the same. And also, it's just so nice, especially when you've known someone for a number of years and just looking at where you met them and where they are now and things that they've overcome. If they've spoken about certain things and now they're doing it, now it's happened. I just think it's such a beautiful thing. So even sometimes I think it's important to just reframe your thinking. Naturally, there's some feelings that will come that you can't control. We can't always control our feelings. But what we can control is how we facilitate those feelings. And what I mean by that is if you're experiencing jealousy, how are you going to facilitate that jealousy? If you just have a pity party, feel sorry for yourself, continue to go down this downward spiral, you are going to facilitate that jealousy to grow. And it's going to grow into something, if you're not careful, it may even be uncontrollable. However, if you experience jealousy or experience a negative feeling or experience feelings of inadequacy, which we all will at some point, if you take a different approach to that, and instead of ignoring your feelings, pretending they're not there, you actually sit with it for a little bit. You go a bit deeper. Why am I feeling this way? Is this really a true reflection of how I'm feeling about my life in totality? Or is there certain areas right now that I'm feeling a bit vulnerable in? What can I do to get out of this pit that I'm in? Is there something I can do? Is there something that I need to change? Because sometimes you may find that there's certain things that we're doing that are just facilitating this beast. Maybe it's certain media that you're consuming, conversations that you're having, people that you're surrounding yourself with. If you're surrounded by people that are constantly complaining, that are negative, pessimistic, it's so much easier for you to become as they are than it is for you to change them to become how you are. Negativity is very infectious. Complaining is very infectious. It's like you go into a store, there's a long queue, there's lots of people in the line, and what are people doing? They're complaining about the length of the wait, they're complaining about, oh, what's wrong with this store? This person's taking too long. And it's so easy for you to then feed that, to join in, to comply with what's happening, than it is for you to just say, do you know what? Maybe they're short staffed today. Let's be patient. It's easier for you to be influenced by negativity than a lot of the times for us to influence negativity. And I think that's why it's important for us to have moments of reflection, why it's important for us to have moments where we slow down, where we take a break from social media, take a break from all the voices, and to just have moments with yourself, have moments of quiet, have moments of pause. It's very easy for us to become a product of the content that we consume. And I think that's why it's so important for us to ensure that we are having a balance in the videos we watch, the music we listen to, the conversations we have, because we are sponges and we're soaking up all of those things. There's even times where I feel like, oh, I feel quite heavy. But it's not necessarily because of anything that I'm going through, but maybe it's because of the conversations that I've been having with other people, or I've just been taking on all of those problems that I've been hearing about. And it's so easy to internalize that and to start carrying a load that is not even yours to carry. I think it's also important to remember that life is a journey and we're all going to experience moments in life where we're winning, where things are growing, things are going well. It's the summer phase of our lives. Everyone's happy, everyone's outside. But also, we're going to have moments in life where it's winter. Nothing is growing, things are withering. We're going through challenges. Maybe that may look like redundancy, miscarriage, breakup, divorce, health issues, losing a parent, grief. The problems may look different. But it's important to remember that life is a journey. And today's problem is not going to be a problem forever. There is an end to every problem. Remembering that community is built on making an effort. Community is built on proximity quite often, but also community is built on sometimes inconveniencing yourself, making the effort. It's not always just going to come on your timeline when it's convenient for you, but also being willing to go out of your way, being willing to make sacrifices, and like I said earlier, celebrating others how you'd like to be celebrated. If you could relate to anything that I've spoken about in today's episode, I'd love to know your thoughts on this topic. Have you ever experienced this in any of your friendships or relationships? And how did you navigate it? How did you navigate feeling low about yourself, but also wanting to show up for your friend and celebrating them? How did you go about it? Because I've seen so many people that the way that they've approached this, it's not been for the best. And unfortunately, as a result, friendships have broken down. And it's such a shame. As I wrap up today's episode, I want to share my pearl of the week with you. And my pearl of the week is a little bit more personal. I've definitely sensed lately that I am on the verge of burning out. And it's really important for me to prevent this from happening. So I can definitely say that I've seen the signs that, yeah, the burnout was knocking. But something I've done recently is I booked some random days of work just for me to rest, recharge, and to just pause, to just be able to take time off, not to have to think about work, not have to do anything work related, but just to take some time to myself, and just allow myself to just rest. Summarizing my pearl of the week, make time for rest. Especially if you're in a season of life where everything is busy, there's so many things going on, make time for rest. Sometimes we think we have no time for rest, but if you don't make time for rest, your body will make time for rest and it's not going to be at a convenient time. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you are listening on a podcast platform that allows you to do so, do like this episode, leave a rating, leave a review. I'd love to continue the conversation with you and to know more about your thoughts. If you're not already following the podcast, then do follow. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll be back with you in the next episode.